The second film in the new DC universe is officially here with the release of Supergirl. I got to watch the film early, so here are my full spoiler-free thoughts on the best and worst parts of Supergirl. Now don't worry, I'm going to give you a fully honest and unbiased review of Supergirl, but I do need to give a quick disclaimer and thank you to you guys because I did get to watch this movie at the world premiere in New York City with the entire cast and crew in attendance, and I got to walk the red carpet. I believe it or not, I do know how to smile and have a full body, but again, a huge thank you to Warner Brothers for inviting me and you guys for watching the video, which is the only reason I got invited in the first place. But getting into the film itself, it is a very mixed bag. It reminds me a lot of like the early days of the MCU, kind of like that first Thor movie, which does make sense since this is obviously only the second new movie in the DC universe. Millie Alcock truly shines in this role. I think she was the perfect casting for Supergirl. She has so many amazing scenes in this, but I do think the script ultimately kind of holds her back, but I am super excited to see her in future projects going forward. We know she's going to be in the next Superman movie. She does an amazing job at making Kara, aka Supergirl, feel like a completely different character from Superman, because obviously she is a completely different character, but they really lean into a lot of the more emotional baggage of this character, a lot of the trauma in her past, and really all the moments when the movie starts taking itself really seriously and getting into these really darker themes and stuff is when the movie's at its best, in my opinion. One of the things that I am conflicted on are the flashbacks we get in this movie. You can see them in the trailer of Kara and what happened on Krypton and kind of immediately afterwards, because I do think the flashbacks themselves are incredible. Again, Millie Alcock really nails the emotional acting in these scenes, but I do think the way the flashbacks are shown in the movie is a little jarring, and honestly the editing in the entire film is just jarring overall. I'm all for some non-linear storytelling, but I do think in this case it would have worked a lot better if the movie just opened up with like the first 10 to 15 minutes being all of the flashbacks of what happened, and then you just cut to modern day, because the way they're kind of woven into the middle of this movie just didn't really work for me. This movie does have an insane amount of action, and I think a lot of it is very fun. I love how different they make Kara's powers feel compared to Superman's. Like obviously they have basically the same power set, but the fighting style and the way it's filmed and everything makes it feel very different. One of the things that really didn't land for me was almost all of the humor. There is one big exception and one character I found hilarious I'll talk about in a second, but for the most part almost all of the jokes were just falling completely flat for me. I really think it's more on the writing, because I do think, like I said, Millie Alcock is giving a great performance in this movie, but especially in like the first 20 minutes there's lots of jokes that are pretty much just like, oh yeah, look at Supergirl, she's drunk, and making some kind of snarky comment, and none of them really landed for me. But the exception to the humor rule is Jason Momoa as Lobo. Does he really fit into the story? Not really, honestly, but still he might be my favorite part of the film, because every time he is on screen he just gives this movie a shot of adrenaline. Like, I'm being completely honest, the only jokes and lines I laughed at were Lobo lines in this movie, and it's not just because of him. Literally whenever he's on screen he just makes everybody else funnier. Like, he has great chemistry with Supergirl, they have some really fun banter. He has a really funny moment with the one kind of sidekick character Ruthie in this movie, even some of the other villains in the film. Like, he is just hilarious. His chemistry with everyone is off the charts. I really hope we see more of him in the DCU going forward, more of him in Supergirl, Superman, just throw him into the mix. Now this is kind of a nitpicky complaint, but it completely took me out of the movie. During the final fight of this film there is a song that's played, a needle drop moment in this movie, and I think it is one of the worst needle drops I've heard in a movie in like the last 5 years. It literally completely took me out of the moment. It felt so corny. I was like, there is no way this song and this version of it is what we're playing in this moment. If you've watched the movie, let me know in the comments down below. Did you think the same about that scene? Let's get into more serious complaints here. I do have to say this movie is incredibly dull to look at. Like, see this poster behind me, how it's pretty much all just kind of brown, gray, and like yellowish. This is literally the color palette of the entire movie. Like, the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic that this movie is very loosely adapting, I'll get to that in a second, is so beautiful to look at. The artwork alone is amazing. It's so colorful. All the planets have so much life, but that is just not the case at all with this movie. All of the different planets end up feeling exactly the same because the creatures are dull on all of them. The color scheme is dull and exactly the same. Again, this is like supposed to be some interstellar space traveling adventure and stuff, but it really does not feel like that at all. It just feels like you're in the middle of Arizona the entire film. This might be a hot take, but I'm actually putting the villain Krem in the positives for this movie. I know a lot of people think he's very dull and one-dimensional. I actually kind of like that for the movie. He's really just like this driving force. Every time he's on screen, he is just like comically evil. And I feel like he legitimately has a very menacing presence every time he's on screen. Like, I don't need every villain to have some super deep, in-depth backstory and be this complicated villain. Yes, those are great, but I was not mad about him at all in this movie. The only real problem I have with Krem has to do with what is my biggest complaint about throughout the entire movie, which is how much this completely changes from the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic it's loosely adapting. Because Krem, the villain, is exactly the same in the book, honestly. He's not that important to the story. He's just kind of this menacing figure that does something very bad and pulls our main characters into this journey. But the book is about so much more than that, and there's so many more emotional moments with Ruthie and Supergirl going on this journey. I think the movie completely misses the entire message and meaning of the comic. Like, it takes the main storyline and characters and plot of the comic book, but it makes some absolutely bizarre changes that, again, completely misses the point of what made the comic hit so hard emotionally for so many people. And just other bizarre changes, like the storyline in the comics, it takes place over a 3-month period, and the writer of the film changed it to 3 days in the movie. And I saw an interview where she said, oh yeah, we needed to add some urgency, you know, it's a movie, you gotta have that ticking clock. But in my opinion, that completely changes the entire weight of the story. Like, not watching Supergirl and Ruthie go on these little adventures and side quests on different planets and spending 3 months together completely changes the entire dynamic. And I want to know if you guys think the same. If you've read the Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow comic, let me know in the comments down below if you like the changes or not. But if you haven't read the comic, do not read it before you watch the movie. Go watch the film first if you enjoy the movie for what it is, which I still did, then read the comic afterward. Before I give you my score 1 through 10 for this movie, I do want to let you guys know I am now doing spoiler versions of movie reviews as well for my YouTube members. So if you want to hear me talk about more specific scenes and spoiler moments from movies, you can join my YouTube membership. You can literally join for like $3 a month. I'm giving the movie a very enjoyable but flawed 6.5 out of 10. If you want to see all my other movie reviews on the channel, click the playlist at the top of the screen, or if you want to join my membership and see my Toy Story 5 spoiler review, click the video at the bottom, and thank you for watching.